How I would learn music production if I had to start again in 2024. Okay, in this video, I'm going to give you a complete guide to learning music production from start to finish for free. Okay, so give me 10 minutes and I'll show you the exact roadmap that I would follow if I had to learn music production from scratch in 2024. Hey yo, it's Alex from My Music. I'm a musician and certified audio engineer here to help you finish music that you're proud of. I help music artists compose, produce, and mix their own professional sounding tracks by using and leveraging a repeatable creative process. And my mission and goal is that in every single video, you're going to get actionable advice that you can immediately implement to help you level up as a music creator. Okay, so again, give me 10 minutes and I'll show you the exact roadmap that I would follow if I had to learn music production from scratch in 2024. Okay, and before we dive in, there's a few nuances we got to iron out here. I'm going to assume that I'm just taking my already existing musical experience before I got into music production and what I would do from here. And along the path, I will accentuate certain decisions as to where you might be right now and as to where other people could be on their journey. Because the truth is, you could be entering music production from a variety of different pasts. You could be a musician, you could have a musical background, you could have no musical background, right? But you could be computer savvy. You might have never opened software before. You may have dabbled with it, right? So there's a lot of nuance here. So I'm going to assume that we know nothing about music production and that we have maybe a little bit of musical experience if you have some, or maybe you don't, okay? And that's going to be the backdrop for the path forward, okay? So essentially, I'm going to give you a roadmap of exactly what I would do if I was completely new to get the most traction as fast as possible, okay? And circumvent all the frustration, the overwhelm, the trial and error, etc. Okay? So the first thing I am going to do is share my screen, and we're going to talk. Make sure you can actually see my screen. Boom, transition. Sick. We're going to talk about Ableton and start here. So I got into music production like way before I discovered Ableton. I learned Pro Tools, I learned Logic, I used Reaper, I dabbled with Cubase, a bunch of different DAWs that I learned when learning to record music, to mix music, etc., to make music with. And it took me quite a while before I stumbled upon Ableton. And the way that I stumbled upon it was with Push 2. Okay, so that brought me into this world with a little background. And aside from loving the software and like the interconnectivity with Push 2, the other thing I love about Ableton is that they are very inclusive and thorough with their education as well. Okay, so it's not only the software and the flexibility of playing live, of designing instruments, of turning the DAW into an instrument. And that's what I would safely say Ableton is it's an instrument that can make music along with all the other fancy stuff. On top of that, it's an excellent way to learn. Okay, like I wish that I had Ableton as it is right now when I was starting. Okay, so to start off, they have a free trial of their fully fleshed out software suite with all their sounds and every sound you could imagine under the sun. And yes, there's a bunch of free resources out there as well. But just to keep it simple, if I was starting, I'd be like, boom, let's do this free trial for 30 days, no risk. And like worst case, you make some music in 30 days. If you choose to not go forward, best case, maybe you move forward. And you can learn a ton in 30 days if you're thorough. Okay, so that's the thing that I would consider, because if we move over to Ableton here, it has built-in lessons. If you go here, help, and built-in lessons, it has lessons built in for how to use live, a tour of it, recording audio, creating beats, playing software instruments, Max for Live, packs, audio, MIDI controllers, on and on and on. And they have the manual, of course, but this is built into the software. On top of that, they also have in 11, you hit info, and anything that you hover over, it gives you an explanation of what it is. Those are send knobs. This is your track title bar. If you load in instruments, it tells you what type of instrument, the control, the macro control, the drum rack pad. So it gives you explanations of all the stuff in the software, which is amazing. Okay, so you can just use and leverage Ableton to learn about music production as well as the features that they give you. So it's very comprehensive. The other thing that I want to highlight is on their website. Let's go back over to Google. Okay, they have amazing articles from all sorts of artists to get you inspired. So if ever you're like, ugh, I don't know what to do, just watch all these videos. You're like, oh, that's awesome. And it'll inspire you. But more specifically, they have very thorough learning resources here. So getting started making music, and they give you lessons, if we open this, on how to make beats, on notes and scales, on chords, bass lines, melodies, song structure, playground, advanced topics to get started. Okay. And the thing that I love about this is that it's not only reading information or watching YouTube videos, it's interactive. So let me show you what I mean. Let's go to beats and let's go to make beats. Okay. And then you load this up and it's interactive and it shows you like, oh, here. Okay. Let's hit play. Right. So it shows you, okay, that is the makeup of a beat. And then this is interactive. So you can actually click notes on and off here, change things around. Maybe we take off some kicks, right? Add another snare, change it up. Okay, so it's interactive in a way that will directly translate to the software and making music. Okay, so another reason why I love Ableton is, again, they have a whole section of their website built in and designed that's interactive to learn all of the foundations of music. Okay, and then they also have the same thing for designing sounds. So learning synths, you go here, boom, synth basics, envelopes, LF4s, oscillators, filters, recipes, playground, you name it. And then guess what? With your free trial, you can explore a bunch of synths that have all those parameters, and you can create MIDI clips in your instruments from what you learn on their website. Okay, so again, just there within the Ableton ecosystem, you have a lot of ingredients to learn music theory, creating MIDI clips, how to use the software, synthesis 101, sound design, how to create patterns, etc., all built in. Okay, so that's where I would start. Okay, and then from there, I would use the system that I'm about to show you right here to focus on finishing a track first and foremost. Okay, so this is kind of number 2, right? Is you want to use the system and focus 100% on finishing your first track as fast as possible so you can complete a cycle of the entire process and have it under your belt. And this will give you an assessment as to where your strengths are and what skills you currently need to focus on. Okay. So what I would do is, hey, if you want this template, just let me know down below and I'll give it to you. But use this template and go through this process of essentially a system of designing of creating your song from beginning to end, right? From designing instruments, flowing out ideas, developing ideas, composition, editing, mixing, and mastering with all the action items on what to do so you can progress a project forward and get that first track done. Okay, that would be my number one focus, is just getting a track done so you can do a lap of the whole process and you understand at a high level what mixing is, what mastering is, what editing is, what composition is, how to develop ideas, motifs, right? So that unlock that on top of learning the software with Ableton, as well as learning the foundations of music in their website, as well as sound design, you're well on your way to making a ton of progress. And where I learned this is like, you could learn information forever, but it's way better to bias all of your learning towards direct action on finishing more music, especially if you're just getting started, because you'll gain knowledge 100 times faster through the context of actively working on music projects versus just learning information from a textbook, learning information from instructors or YouTube tutorials. It's going to be so much more powerful for you to learn stuff through the process of making music. Okay, so we're doing to learn instead of learning to do, which is such an important distinction. And that's what I would start. So within like a week, you could have a track finished, okay, with the system, along with the teaching in Ableton for the, just go through these things. It won't take very long. So you understand beats, notes, chords, scales, etc. You understand basics of synths, right? You have a whole template and system for making music right here. You use Ableton to learn it by itself. Within a week or 2 weeks, you'll have a track done and you'll have learned a ton just from the process of making that track. Okay. And then what I would do is focus on that until your 30-day trial is done, and maybe try to get 1, 2, 3 tracks done inside that time, 4 if you're really going for it, right? And these tracks don't have to be great. They're your first tracks and you're using them as learning tools. And then from there, the final thing that I would focus on is then once you got a couple laps under your belt of using the system, of finishing tracks, of understanding the creative process, understanding the software, instruments, sound design, right? Is then to start contemplating like, okay, what direction do I want to go? what resources do I need to leverage to learn the skills that are missing? Because from going through that system, you'll realize like, oh, I need to learn more about mixing. I still don't know much about chords and progressions and composition. So you get a list of skills you have to learn, and then you can leverage YouTube. You could work with a mentor. You could buy a course, whatever it is you want to do to leverage to build those skills farther. And then finally, that's what I would do is start to decide on like, okay, well, what musical direction do I want to go? And what tools do I want to learn to get me there? And the final thing I'll show you is an overhead shot, if I can get it here. Give me a sec. Let's see if we can do this. I moved my camera. Transition. All right, close enough. So let's get this straight. All right, good enough. So I have push here loaded, and you don't need a push. Okay, I'm just saying that you don't need a push, but I would love for you to make a decision as to what tools you want to master. In my case, I've already been playing guitar for 15 years. That's my musical background that I came into making music with. So I'm going to leverage that. But this would be the tool that I want to master, because this tool can help you sequence beats, play melodies, learn chords, play progressions, control the software, especially Ableton. This is designed by Ableton and it's interactive. Super embedded, and this controls the software basically very easily, right? So you can get your hands dirty, and that would be the choice that I make as to what I want to learn, right? And then from there, over time, you start to find your voice through these tools, right? Whether it be you're going down the sound design and creating synths, or maybe you want to play chords or play beats or whatever it is. But then mastering one specific tool very deep will go much farther than mastering a very small amount of tools at a surface level. So then if I go to like a piano or something, right? This is just a piano on push. Very simple, right? But over time you can learn voicings you like a major 9. Beautiful chord, same shape. Right? Start to piece together progressions that you like. So maybe something like that, right? Right? Start to play around with an instrument and start to find your voice and play chords, and that will serve you in the long run instead of always relying on struggling to find chords or like penciling things in. If you can play the music and imbue yourself in the music, it will feel so much better. Same goes with rhythm. Over here I have a drum kit. Right? And getting some rhythm under your fingers, which Ableton will guide you on learning that, but then practicing it with a specific tool. It doesn't have to be push. It can be a MIDI controller. It could be a physical instrument. Doesn't matter. But I would encourage you to get like rhythm, bass, melody, harmony, which is all in the template under your hands, so you can express yourself, right? Like. Right? And you can get lost in the flow and start flowing with the instruments, and that will help you create way more ideas, get more expressive, have fun, and find your voice. Okay. So that's all I got for you. That's what I would do. Again, if you want this template that has the system to help you finish tracks from beginning to end, just comment down below. Happy to give it to you. But that's the sequence of things that I would do, is like get the software, Ableton, because it teaches you how to use the software inside the software, leverage their website for inspiration, for learning music, for learning sound design, and then focus all of your effort just going through that template and getting a track done of any quality. It doesn't matter if it sucks, because in doing that, you will have gone through the lap of the whole process. You'll understand it at a high level, and then you'll understand what's fuzzy, and you'll understand what you have strengths in, because maybe you have some musical background, maybe something comes easy. Great. Then you know what you need to focus on for leveling up your skills, and then still focus on finishing more music to level up those skills. And then eventually, once you finish 3 or 4 tracks, then start to think about mastering a specific tool, going a specific direction, whatever pulls you. All right. So I hope this was helpful. That's all I got for you today, and we'll see